The Persian Gulf. 0347 hours local time. Darkness presses down on the water like a fist. Somewhere beneath the moonless sky, 112,000 tons of American naval power cut silently through the calm Black Sea. The USS Gerald R. Ford, CVN-78, flagship of Carrier Strike Group 4, leads her battle group through the Strait of Hormuz and into the northern Gulf on a scheduled freedom of navigation transit. She's not hiding. She never has to. 14 surface combatants trail her in a layered defensive formation stretching across 22 nautical miles of open water. 2 Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruisers, USS Lady Gulf and USS Hugh City, anchor the inner defensive ring. Their AN/SPY 1B phased array radar systems spinning invisible walls of electromagnetic energy into the atmosphere at 4 megawatts of transmitted power. 4 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers hold the outer picket line. 2 Los Angeles-class fast attack submarines run silent beneath the formation. Passive sonar arrays drinking in every acoustic signature within 50 nautical miles. And somewhere 38,000 feet above the Gulf, a single E-2D Advanced Hawkeye, call sign Oracle 1, orbits in lazy ellipses, its AN/APY-9, radar painting the entire battle space in real time. Every ship, every aircraft, every blip of metal moving faster than a man can run, all fed simultaneously into the Cooperative Engagement Capability Network, shared by every platform in the strike group. Nobody in the Combat Information Center of the Gerald R. Ford is worried. They have done this transit 4 times in the past 18 months. The Iranians posture, the Iranians bluster, the Iranians occasionally buzz the formation with small patrol craft or slow-moving aircraft running outdated Soviet-era transponders. It is theater. It has always been theater. Tonight, someone in Tehran decided to change the script. At 0351 hours, Oracle 1 picks up the first anomaly. Not a radar contact. Not yet. A thermal bloom. 19 separate heat signatures erupting from the Zagros mountain foothills in a rapid-fire sequence across 11 seconds. The AN/APY-9's ground-moving target indication mode registers the launches almost before the flames have left the tubes. The data link screams the information across Link 16 to every ship in the formation simultaneously. In the CIC of the Gerald R. Ford, the tactical action officer, a commander with 16 years of fleet experience, glances at the main Aegis display and says 3 words: "This is real." What just launched from Iranian soil were not cruise missiles. They were not drones. They were Shahab 3B medium-range ballistic missiles. 19 of them, along with what preliminary trajectory analysis identified as 4 EMAD-1 variants, Tehran's much-publicized precision ballistic missile that Iranian state television has spent years hyping as a system capable of hitting a moving aircraft carrier. The EMAD-1 features a maneuverable re-entry vehicle with a terminal guidance package that Iranian engineers claim gives it meter-level accuracy. Tehran's generals had called it a carrier killer. They had said this on television. They had held press conferences. Let's talk about what they actually built. The EMAD-1's maneuverable re-entry vehicle is based on reverse-engineered North Korean technology. Itself, a crude derivative of 1970s-era Soviet MIRV concepts. The terminal guidance relies on a combination of inertial navigation updated by a commercial GPS receiver. The same class of GPS chipset you can buy at an electronics market in Dubai for $40. The Seeker has an approximately 50-meter circular error, probable against a stationary target under ideal conditions. Against a ship moving at 30 knots on an evasive course in an electronically contested environment, that number degrades catastrophically. Iranian military doctrine had apparently classified this as a manageable limitation. They were about to discover exactly how wrong they were. The Aegis combat system aboard USS Lady Gulf the most advanced naval air and missile defense network on Earth, had already calculated intercept solutions for all 23 missiles before the last one cleared its launch canister. The SPY-1B radar tracks each ballistic trajectory in real time, feeding continuous fire control solutions to the standard missile engagement batteries. The entire process, from detection to intercept solution, takes 3.4 seconds. Human operators are there to authorize. The system does not need them to aim. At 0352 hours and 44 seconds, the Tactical Action Officer aboard Lady Gulf authorizes engagement. The order goes to the VLS, the Mark 41 Vertical Launch System, a 122-cell magazine of extraordinary lethality embedded in the forward and aft decks. The first SM-3 Block IIA clears its launch tube in a pillar of white fire, then a second, then a third. The Arleigh Burke destroyers in the outer picket open their own VLS magazines simultaneously. The engagement is coordinated through the Cooperative Engagement Capability Network. Each ship knows exactly which missiles the others are targeting, eliminating redundancy and maximizing efficiency. No two interceptors are wasted on the same threat. The mathematics are elegant. The execution is devastating. The SM-3 Block IIA is a weapon unlike anything Iran has ever faced. Standing 6.55 meters tall and weighing approximately 1,500 kilograms at launch, it exits the VLS tube on a solid fuel first stage that burns for just over 4 seconds before the second stage ignites, and the missile arcs upward at velocities approaching Mach 15. Its third stage kinetic warhead, a lightweight exo-atmospheric projectile, or LEAP, is a hit-to-kill weapon. There is no explosive warhead. It destroys its target by sheer kinetic impact at closing velocities exceeding 14,000 miles per hour. You cannot spoof it with flares. You cannot jam it with electronic countermeasures. You can only attempt to outmaneuver it in the exo-atmosphere. And the EMAD-1's maneuverable re-entry vehicle simply does not have the lateral acceleration authority to defeat a LEAP at those engagement altitudes. At 0354 hours, the first intercepts occur in the upper atmosphere, 140 kilometers above the Persian Gulf. The thermal signatures are visible to space-based infrared satellites, to aircraft within 200 nautical miles. And, this is the irony, to Iranian radar operators in the very sites that launched the attack. They watched their missiles die on their own screens. 11 Shahab 3B missiles were destroyed in the exo-atmospheric phase by SM-3 Block IIA interceptors. 4 more were caught in the endo-atmospheric phase, inside the atmosphere but above 50,000 feet, by SM-6 missiles, the latest generation extended-range active radar homing interceptor that can engage ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and aircraft with equal facility. The SM-6 uses an AN/APG-78 seeker derived from the AIM-120 AMRA-AM family with a 64-kilogram continuous rod warhead and a proximity fuse optimized for the radar cross-section of a maneuvering re-entry vehicle. The 4 missiles it intercepted ceased to exist as coherent objects. This left 8 missiles in the engagement envelope, 4 Shahab variants, and 4 EMAD-1 missiles. The EMAD-1s were the priority. Their maneuvering capability made them the most unpredictable threat. And the SM-6 batteries aboard the Arleigh Burke destroyers had been specifically allocated to handle them. 3 of the 4 were destroyed cleanly. The 4th, EMAD-1, executed its terminal maneuver at an angle that temporarily complicated the fire control solution. An angular deviation of approximately 14 degrees that the Iranian engineers had apparently designed deliberately, based on analysis of public sources describing U.S. radar limitations. The attempt to exploit that window lasted approximately 1.8 seconds. An SM-6, fired from USS, gravely corrected its intercept geometry and destroyed the re-entry vehicle at 18,000 feet altitude, approximately 6.2 nautical miles from the formation's outer perimeter. The debris field fell into the sea. The remaining 4 Shahab 3Bs were destroyed by a layered combination of SM-2 Block IIIB missiles, and, for the 2 that penetrated to terminal range, the Phalanx CIWS, the close-in weapon system, a 20mm M61A1 Vulcan rotary cannon slaved to its own fire control radar, capable of firing 4,500 rounds per minute and engaging targets at ranges out to 1.5 kilometers. The Phalanx locked onto the 2 descending warheads at 1,100 meters and fired for 0.8 seconds. The warheads were structurally compromised before impact. They did not function as designed. They hit the water 340 meters off the port bow of USS Hugh City and sank without detonating. 2 spent Phalanx ammunition casings were the only metal to land on the deck of any U.S. ship. Total missiles launched by Iran, 23. Total missiles that reached their intended targets, 0. Time elapsed from first launch detection to end of engagement, 11 minutes and 22 seconds. U.S. casualties, none. U.S. ships damaged, none. At 0403 hours, the carrier strike group resumed its transit at base course and speed. On the bridge of the Gerald R. or Ford, the watch officer noted the engagement in the ship's log and poured himself a coffee. But Tehran was not finished. They had a contingency. Of course they did. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy had spent 18 months developing what they called a saturation and distraction protocol. The idea was simple. If the ballistic missiles failed to penetrate, and to be fair to whoever wrote the plan, they acknowledged this was possible, a second wave would come from the sea. 114 fast attack craft, speedboats, and semi-submersible attack boats loaded with explosives, RPG teams, and crew-served weapon mounts. They would surge from hidden positions along the Iranian coastline and along the north shore of the Gulf, overwhelming the carrier's close-in defenses through sheer numbers. The plan assumed the carrier group's attention would be divided. It assumed confusion. It assumed the electronic and sensor picture would be degraded by the ballistic missile engagement. Every single one of these assumptions was catastrophically wrong. The E-2D Hawkeye had been tracking the small craft concentrations for 6 hours before the ballistic launch. Oracle 1's AN/APY-9 radar, operating in a high-resolution maritime search mode, had painted every one of the 114 craft as they staged in the narrow coves and behind the breakwaters of Bandar Abbas and Jask. The data had been continuously fed to the CIC. The tactical action officer had a contact list ready. When the speedboat swarm launched at 0408 hours, a coordinated mass departure that Iranian commanders apparently believed would achieve tactical surprise, every vessel was already assigned to a firing platform. The Gerald R. Ford had 12 F/A-18E Super Hornets spotted on the flight deck at Alert 5, engines running. They launched in pairs beginning at 0409 hours. Each aircraft carried a full combat load. 4 AIM-120D AMRAAMs, 2 AIM-9X Sidewinders, a targeting pod, and 4 AGM-65F Maverick air-to-surface missiles with infrared guidance optimized for maritime surface targets. The Maverick AGM-65F in particular is a weapon designed specifically for exactly this kind of engagement. Its imaging infrared seeker acquires small surface targets in complete darkness, in sea clutter, at ranges exceeding 20 nautical miles. The speedboats had no countermeasures. They had no radar warning receivers. Many of them did not even have navigation systems beyond handheld GPS units and compass bearings marked on laminated maps. The first Maverick struck the lead speedboat of the northern swarm column at 0411 hours. 19 seconds later, the second. The FA-18S worked methodically through the contact list distributed via Link 16, each pilot calling "splash" as his missiles found their marks. The two Los Angeles-class submarines had surfaced to periscope depth and were tracking the engagement with passive sonar, unnecessary for the airstrikes, but standing by to support if any craft broke through the outer engagement zone. None did. The entire speedboat swarm was destroyed or forced to retreat within 34 minutes. Iranian search and rescue assets later recovered survivors from several craft that had turned back early. 17 of the attacking vessels simply disappeared. Their hulls, their fuel, their crews atomized or scattered across the Gulf by direct Maverick hits. The rest fled into the dark at maximum throttle, their commanders screaming into encrypted radios that the Americans had somehow known exactly where they were. They were right. The Americans had known exactly where they were. That is what happens when you try to operate against a nation that has spent 30 years building sensors that can see in the dark, through weather, through radar clutter, through every physical phenomenon that nature can put between a radar beam and a target. At 04:43 hours, a third and final element of the Iranian plan activated, or rather, attempted to activate. 2 Kilo-class submarines, purchased from Russia in the 1990s and subsequently modified in Iranian shipyards with locally produced sonar transducers and torpedo fire control systems, had been positioned along the strike group's projected transit corridor 20 hours earlier. The plan was to allow the carrier to pass and then execute a stern attack profile on the task group with torpedo salvos, a tactic that sounds coherent on a briefing map and falls apart immediately in contact with actual U.S. Navy anti-submarine warfare capabilities. The Los Angeles-class submarines detected the first kilo at 02:19 hours, more than 2.5 hours before the Iranian ballistic launch. Passive sonar had acquired the distinctive acoustic signature of a Type 877 EKM Kilo-class boat running on its main electric motors, a signature so well cataloged in U.S. acoustic intelligence databases that it could be distinguished from background noise at ranges exceeding 30 nautical miles under typical Gulf thermal layer conditions. The second kilo was found at 02:47 hours. Both contacts had been tracked continuously, silently, with exquisite patience, their positions precisely known. When the Kilo submarines attempted to maneuver into firing position at 04:43 hours, neither of them knew they had been detected. The first, attempting to close to within 10 nautical miles for a tube-launched torpedo shot, ran directly across the bow arc of the lead Los Angeles boat, which had maneuvered into an ideal attack position 4 hours earlier and simply waited. The solution was ready. Authorization came at 04:44 hours. The Mark 48 AD-cap heavyweight torpedo is a weapon of extraordinary sophistication. It runs at speeds exceeding 55 knots. It carries a 295-kilogram PBXN-103 explosive warhead, and its acoustic homing system is resistant to the standard countermeasures, acoustic decoys, and noisemakers that the Iranian kilos carried. The first torpedo struck the Iranian submarine's pressure hull at 04:46 hours and 22 seconds. The detonation was registered on seismic monitoring networks in Bahrain and Oman. The second kilo, alerted by the explosion, attempted to break off its approach, deploy countermeasures, and sprint toward the Iranian coastline. The second Los Angeles-class boat, which had been trailing it for 19 hours, was already in position. It fired at 04:47 hours. The engagement was over before the Iranian boat completed its first evasion maneuver. As dawn broke over the Persian Gulf at 06:12 hours, the Gerald R. forward strike group was 47 nautical miles from its previous position, proceeding at 28 knots on its planned transit corridor. Flight operations resumed at 0620 hours, scheduled FA-18 training sorties and tanker cycles, the same daily rhythm that had been disrupted for less than 90 minutes. The ocean around the formation was clean water. Iranian state media did not immediately acknowledge what had occurred. For 7 hours, the official silence from Tehran was absolute. No press conferences, no statements from the IRGC, no triumphant footage of missiles streaking into the sky accompanied by patriotic music, because they had nothing to show. The attack that was supposed to demonstrate that Iran could hold an American carrier at risk. The attack that was supposed to send a message to Washington and Tel Aviv and Riyadh that the era of U.S. maritime dominance in the Gulf was over, had not merely failed. It had been destroyed so comprehensively, so efficiently, so professionally, that it barely registered as a blip in the operational tempo of Carrier Strike Group 4. 23 ballistic missiles, 114 attack boats, 2 submarines, 0 results. This is what happens when ideology substitutes for honest engineering assessment. Iranian defense procurement has spent decades prioritizing propaganda value over actual military capability, announcing systems in elaborate ceremonies, claiming performance specifications that exist only in press releases, deploying weapons whose stated capabilities are derived not from rigorous testing against realistic countermeasures, but from extrapolating performance data from range shots against stationary targets under controlled conditions. The EMAD-1 is a carrier killer in a PowerPoint presentation. In the real world, in the electromagnetic environment generated by the Aegis combat system, in the intercept envelopes of SM-3 and SM-6 missiles, guided by the most sophisticated fire control software ever written, it is debris. The United States Navy did not build its capabilities to fight the Iranian military of 2005 or 2010. It has spent billions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of engineering hours, and 40 years of operational refinement building systems that account for the most optimistic possible assessment of any adversary's capabilities and then double it. The layered missile defense architecture, exo-atmospheric SM-3, endo-atmospheric SM-6, terminal SM-2, close-in Phalanx, is not a single wall. It is 5 separate walls, each designed to catch whatever penetrates the one before it. The anti-submarine warfare network, submarines tracking submarines, P-8 Poseidons overhead, towed sonar arrays streaming behind the surface ships, is designed to know where every hostile submarine within 100 nautical miles is located before the first hostile action is taken. The maritime strike capability, Super Hornets, F-35s, surface-launched Tomahawks, is designed to destroy the platforms that threaten the formation before they can fire. Iran did not attack a ship tonight. Iran attacked a doctrine, a network, a system of systems refined through decades of actual combat experience in the Gulf, the Mediterranean, the Pacific, and the skies over every ocean on the planet. The result was never in doubt to anyone who had looked honestly at the capability comparison. Not the captains of the strike group, not the intelligence analysts who had been tracking the Iranian preparations for 63 days, and certainly not the tactical action officer who noted the end of the engagement in his log, set down his coffee, and asked the watch crew if anyone wanted breakfast. When the most expensive and meticulously planned Iranian military operation in a decade produces no casualties, no damage, and barely a footnote in the operational log of a single American carrier strike group, the strategic message is not subtle. The Persian Gulf is not contested space. The Persian Gulf is an American lake, and every regime that has forgotten this lesson has been given a very patient, very thorough, very lethal reminder. The Iranian military fired everything they had at a formation they had been studying for 18 months. The formation did not even change course. That is not superiority. That is dominance. And dominance, unlike rhetoric, does not require a press conference. Bye for now.